Welcome. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
I kind of sigh at these particular stories. This is not Hallmark Channel, correct? Oh dear. So what's happened up to this point, of course, is that cousin Korach has led this mutiny, and it has all the hallmarks of some modern political situations. And one of the things that happened before was in trying to prove the legitimacy of his leadership, Moses proposes a test which involves Korach and his companions and his supporters taking fire pans and with incense and presenting them, because that is something that is strictly a Kohanic, a priestly duty to do. And Korach, who is a Levite, is claiming that he has as much right to the priesthood as Moses. So Moses proposes this test, and we haven't had it happen yet, but it is about to happen. So, Vayomer Moshe el Korach, right? Moses says to Korach, Ata v'chol adatcha, you and your entire community, heyu lifnei HaShem, present yourselves before God. Ata, you and they, v'Aharon machar, and Aaron tomorrow. Let's see if there's any Rashi on this. Yes, v'heim, and they, meaning your, right where it says here, find it here, Ata v'heim, and they. So it doesn't say va'adatcha again, right? Here it is, but that's who this heim is referring to, is his group, right? Ukhu ish machtato, and let each man take his fire pan, unetatem alehem ketoret, and place ketoret, that's incense, place incense on them, vehikravtem lifnei HaShem, and the subject is ish machtato, and let each man, okay, present before God his fire pan. Chamishim umatayim machtot, 250 fire pans. Va'ata va'aharon, and you and Aaron, ish machtato, each one presenting his fire pan. Rashi, let's see if there is Rashi on this. Yes. Vehikravtem, etc., ish machtato. Hachamishim umatayim ish shebachem, that is the 250 people among you. I'm not sure, I have to tell you truthfully, I thought that was pretty clear from the sentence, but Rashi apparently is sensing that there's some way to interpret this to mean something else. But whether or not the fact, maybe he's trying to emphasize that each person has to come with his fire pan. It's not just a matter of putting these 250 fire pans before God, but that each person has to bring his fire pan with him. So onwards. Vayikhu ish machtato. So now new sentence, and each man took his fire pan. Vayitnu aleihem esh, and they placed fire upon them. Vayasimu aleihem ketoret, and they placed incense upon them. Vayamdu petach ohel moed, and they stood in front of the tent of meeting. Moshe v'Aaron, along with Moses and Aaron. So they're all standing.
No Rashi.
No, okay, thank you. I'm sorry, it's not that I haven't prepared, it's just that I don't remember. Maybe I should put a little marking to let me know that there's no Rashi on something. At any rate, thanks, Lauren. Vayakhel alehem Korach et kol ha'edah. And Korach, right, gathered upon them, in other words, gathered around them, the entire community, El Petach Ohel Moed. So the entire Israelite community was sort of gathered around this huge crowd around them at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Vayera Kvod HaShem, and the glory, the presence of HaShem appeared El Kol Ha'edah, to the entire community. So Vayakel Alehem Korach. So this is from the Tanchuma, from this Midrash. B'divrei leitzanut kol halayla hahu. Okay, so in mocking words, leitzanut here has the idea of mocking. A leitzan is, I don't know that it's a modern word necessarily, but it refers to a clown, someone who's, kidding around. But here it has the meaning of mocking, that he was mocking. Kol halayla hahu, right? That entire night, halach etzel hashvatim, he went to the tribes, upite otam, and he seduced them, essentially, is what it is, right? Kesvurim atem, do you think, she'alai levadi ani makpid? Do you think, this is, by the way, I'm telling you, a populist argument, right? Do you think I'm only concerned about myself? Eini makpid ela bishvil kulchem. The reason why I'm raising this issue, I'm so concerned, is because of all of you. Elu ba'in uvenotlin kol hagdolot. These ones, in other words, referring to Moses and Aaron, come venotlin kol hagdolot, all the honors they get. In other words, Moses and Aaron are taking all the great stuff. Lo hamalchut, he's got the sovereignty, he's got the kingship, Moses, v'le'echav, and to his brother, it's a nepotism as well. HaKahuna, the priesthood, ad shenit patu kulam, to a point where all the Israelites were pretty much convinced. So the subtle power of, or maybe not so subtle power, of populistic arguments, and they go on today. We hear those kinds of things even today. They're taking away the power from you. You really need to. We're doing this for you, etc. So just so interesting, right? Vayera kvod Hashem, and the glory of Hashem appeared. Ba ba'amud anam, it arrived with the pillar of cloud. So, noon at Otkei Corral. Vaidaber Hashem el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. So Hashem spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Hibadlu, separate yourselves, mitoch ha'edah hazot, from this community. Va'achale otam karaga. So we're back to that situation, right? We just had that last week with the incident of the spies, where God is ready to destroy in an instant the entire community. And this is what he's saying again. He said, then, and by the way, this is probably the reason for the Tanchuma passage explaining how Korach went around all night using this argument to try and seduce the Jewish people, the Israelites, right? Because it's pretty much the entire community. Yeah, Moses and Aaron's popular rating has suffered to practically 0% here. Okay, but God is ready to destroy them now. See if there's any. No. Okay. Vayiplu al pnehem, and they fell on their faces. That is, Moses and Aaron fell on their faces. Vayomru, and they said, El Elohei haruchot lechol basar, right? God, the God of the spirits of all flesh. And Rashi is going to give us a wonderful interpretation of that expression. Ha'ish echad yecheta. Can one man sin, v'al kol ha'edah tiktsof, and you're angered with the entire community. So essentially, what's so amazing here, and again, this is such an incredible lesson about leadership and how much you have to be concerned and care about the people you're leading, right? I mean, here they are, their own authority being threatened by the entire community, and they are understanding that there is really one person who got this all going. And even though it's true, I mean, the people are responsible even if they are being seduced. It's not like they're totally innocent regarding this, or that in this case, the Israelites were totally innocent. Unfortunately, that kind of person appeals to people's worst instincts. And here is Moses and Aaron appealing to God for the Israelites not to be wiped out, despite the fact that from a purely just point of view, possibly, they don't deserve. They don't deserve it anymore. And for partially because of the number of offenses they've committed. They just keep piling up. Let me just extrapolate for a moment that I have to tell you that from from an application point of view, and trying to look at my own character and to personalize the material that we're reading here, is to look into myself and really seriously question the degree to which, in the face of God, meaning in the face of the ultimate purpose of this universe, to what degree do I commit offenses? And I suspect that that is a spiritual discipline that's coming out of all of this. And to be conscious of it, because how much do we even care, right? We don't even consider that category. And yet it's something that if we're going to perfect ourselves as human beings, I think it's something worth consideration. So, El Elohei Haruchot, right? God, the God of all spirits. Here we go. Yodea machshavot. You know people's thoughts. God is aware of people's thoughts. Ein midatcha, your quality, right? Your what God's qualities are. Kamidat basar vadam is not. So literally, it means your measure is not like the measure of basar vadam. Literally, it means flesh and blood. What it means is mortals. That God's and midot, when we talk about midot, we talk about personal qualities. Personality is not like that of mortals. Melech basar vadam, in the case of a mortal king, shesarcha alav miktzat medina, when a percentage, a part of a province, sarcha means commits an offense, eino yodea, he can't tell mi hachote, who is the one who's committing, who are the ones who are committing the offense. It may be very difficult for this king, the sovereign, to determine who exactly is guilty. Lefichach, and for that reason, keshahu ko'es, when he is literally angered, nifra mikulam, he avenges himself on all of them. Aval ata, but with you, lefanecha gluyot kol hamachshavot, before you are revealed all thoughts. V'yodea ata mi hachote, and you know who has really sinned. So this passage is really making it very clear that even when the Torah sometimes talks about an entire group, it doesn't mean that it is absolutely every single person, that there may in fact not be certain exceptional cases that don't have to suffer whatever consequences are being discussed in the Torah at the time. Ha'ish echad, so this is the interrogative hey. If one person, if one man, hu hachoteh, he is the one who sins. Va'ata al kol ha'edat tiktzof, and because of this one person, you will vent your anger at the entire community. Will you be angered by the entire community? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, said the Holy One, blessed be He, Yafeh Amarta, you made a good point. Ani Yodea, I know, Umordia, and I will make known, Mi Chata, who is the one who sinned, Umi Lo Chata, and who did not sin. In other words, I will make distinctions. Okay. Vaidaber Adonai Moshe Lemor, and Hashem further said to Moses, Daber El Ha'edah Lemor, speak to this community with these words, saying, Hey Alu, get up, misaviv, from around the Mishkan Korach, from Korach's dwelling, Dathan Abiram, and Dathan and Abiram. So I wonder to myself, since On is not being mentioned here, I think there may be some midrashim that talk about the fact that On, in fact, did tshuva. By the way, just parenthetically, we have a number of psalms that are attributed to the sons of Korach. And there is a tradition that Korach's sons, in fact, did not support their father in this particular rebellion. And they were, in fact, spared. So, okay, remove yourselves. He'alu v'gomer, ketargumo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but because I have as a note that Samuel is a descendant of Korah.
Aha, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yep.
Istalkusa, just Rashi saying that when it says go up, it means, or go up, take yourselves up. It means istalku, which means remove yourselves, misvivot mishkan Korach, from around the dwelling of Korach, his neighborhood. Right? That's the modern Hebrew word, shikun. Onwards, Vayakol Moshe, and Moses arose, Vayelech el Dathan v'Abiram. And now, notice, by the way, before he summoned them, but now he's going to Dathan and Abiram. Vayelchu acharem ziknei Israel. Not only did he go, but all the elders of Israel went with him. And of course, here we're talking about the elders that supported him. Vayakol Moshe, Moses arose. This is from Midrash Rabbah, another Midrash. Kisavur sheyisu lo panim v'lo asu. He thought that they would give him consideration. He still had hopes that Dathan and Abiram would change their minds. V'lo asu, but they didn't. They didn't. So again, as we look at today's situation politically and in the country, whether or not there's that openness. And here we are reading about, the attempts that Moses made for reconciliation and how they were adamant. So doesn't stop you from trying or needing to try. Vaydaber el Edah lemor. And he spoke to the community, saying, Suruna, get away. Get away from around the tents of these wicked people. And do not touch anything they have. Pen tisafu, lest you are also destroyed. B'chol chatotam, in all their sins. So separate as much as possible. Do not have anything to do with them. Pretty tough words. Vaya'alu me'al mishkan Korach, and they went up from the habitation, the place of Korach, Dathan v'Abiram misaviv, and Dathan and Abiram were around them, around the Mishkan Korach, right? Korach's neighborhood, his dwelling. V'Dathan v'Abiram yatzu nitzavim, and Dathan and Abiram went out, standing up, petach ohalehem, at the entrance of their tents, unishehem, and their wives, uvnehem, and their children, vetapam, and their little ones. So here they are standing defiantly against Moses and Aaron, to this point that they had everyone there, every single one there. Let's see if there's anything here. Let's go. Yatzu nitzavim. So nitzavim means, standing. They went out and they stood. And this is from the Tanchuma. It says, Bekoma zukufa. They were standing straight up, lecharef uledakef, to revile and to curse. Kamo, as we find in another verse, Shmuel Aleph Yud Zayin, first book of Samuel, chapter 17, Vayit Yatsev Arba'im Yom de Goliath. And we use this term Vayit Yatsev, the 40 days of Goliath. And Goliath was mocking the Israelite army at the time, and the Israelites. So I assume that you know the story of David and Goliath. So what about why is this included as well? And this is pretty sobering, actually. Bo or he says, come and see, kama kasher, how tough hamachloket, this kind of division. When people are so against each other, are deeply divided to a point where it's not a question. Of course, we know that being able to argue is so important. It's so important to debate issues and to look and to perform due diligence in considering matters. It's important. But here we're talking about a different kind of division, where it's a matter of just personal winning an argument, and that you're not looking at the larger picture. You're looking at some kind of personal gain of some sort. So this is terrible. Shehare Beit Din Shalmad, he says that when it comes to a court, on a lower court, meaning an earthly court, Ein Unshin, they do not exact punishment. Ela ad yavi shtei sa'arot. What they're saying is until a person is considered an adult, and in other words, shows signs of puberty. That's what literally it means, until someone has 2 hairs. That's the Hebrew expression of showing signs of puberty. Just like we have today, juvenile court, and you don't sentence, you don't judge in the same way juveniles as you do adults. So that's what they're talking about here.
Except when they do.
I'm sorry, except when they do. Yeah.
Except for when they do. Yeah.
Of course, yes. Uvei din shalmala, and the heavenly court ad kafshana. When the heavenly court judges and sentences, you have to be 20 years old. We've learned that, right? From having read the book of Numbers, that it's 20 years old and up. But here, in this machloket situation, ibdu af yonkei shadayim, he says, even literally it means those that suckle the breast. In other words, infants, even infants were lost. It is so awful. And again, standing back and saying, what is the Torah trying to teach us? And what would happen if people actually took this kind of stuff to heart and internalized the lessons? How transformational would this be? And when we say, Darcheha darchei noam, when we say its paths are paths of peace, this is such an amazing example of exactly that. So we'll stop here for today, and I will mark the place for next time. And summertime is a time when we read the book of Numbers. As you can see, we're in the midst of summer now. And in some ways, summertime from a Jewish liturgical point of view is in some time has sadness associated with it. So I'm going to stop the share. And if any of you have a comment to make, I'm open to hearing what you have to say. Ken, it's good to see you. Do you have any thoughts?
I have a thought, Rabbi.
Yes. Okay, Harlan.
Okay. Today we have, Korah is not dead. We have a lot of these Korahs out here, even in St. Louis and wherever you're at. They all want power, and they'll step over everybody. They say, don't tell me what to do. And they're alive today. Korah is alive today. It's a shame that all this thing happens today. And look at Ukraine and whatever. It just goes on and on and on. Guns and abortion, and I mean, just terrible. Korah is alive today. Believe me.
So what we have to, well, okay. So clearly there are many ways to understand Torah, and not just in the specific way in which we're studying it, okay? What I would say we have to be careful of is pointing fingers and not looking into our own, our own tshuva. And to recognize when people are behaving that way, or seeing what we can do, not to just pigeonhole them and judge them like that. But it's frustrating. It is, and I mean, look, you're picking up from what I'm sharing with you as well. So in all fairness, yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to stop the recording and look forward to tomorrow.